So one of Feldenkrais's big influences was access to the waiting room of his wife, who was a pediatrician. So he watched babies a lot. And you could absolutely imagine a baby just exploring on one toe, lying on their back, and they just, their weight tips and then they fall onto their side, but they've still got hold of their foot. So there is an absolute developmental element. A lot of the rolling lessons have that element. Yeah. So if we think about the paucity of instructions in the book about that, you've all figured it out, more or less. And it got better and better. Like I'm walking around the room watching you all got easier. It got easier and easier, didn't it, with your little group coaching each other. And I'm not fantasizing that. Am I? Is that what happened? Yeah. As soon as I shut up, you got to do it and you helped each other improve. That's what I saw. What helped you improve? The observation. And was anything in particular, like, I'm not what I can retrofit this. How did you observe? What did you observe?
Of the different people doing the same thing, how the bus people.
And that gave you more clues?
It did, yes. Yeah. And not interfering with anything, just trying to see how any couple could fit all of them.
Yeah. So getting a sense that there is using the variety of responses and explorations in the room can really help you as a teacher. And so that when whoever said responsiveness this morning when we talked about strategies, that's really it, isn't it? You're using information. You put information into the system, the student system, and information comes out, and that helps you rethink and reframe, and you put it back into the system. So that's a real hallmark of awareness is that loop. And what makes being an ATM teacher such an interesting process. Now, of course, you've all done ATMs by tape and they still work. No. No, it's not the same because you don't have the responsiveness, but that's testament to the power of the lesson, is that it will still work without it being responsive if you enter into the process because you create that forward feedback loop in yourself. So, whenever you're feeling like the responsibility of a teacher is overwhelming, just remind yourself, come on, Flossie, this would work if I was a teacher. How old-fashioned am I? This would work if I was an MP3 file. Yeah, just to take the pressure off. Or if you're getting delusions of grandeur, tell yourself that I could be an MP3 file and it would still work. Whatever. I can't imagine myself having delusions of grandeur. Any other questions, comments about that? So, given that lesson is the extreme example of him leaving gaps for people to fill in themselves in terms of self-discovery, and that's a book for the public. That's an introductory book for
self-discovery. I was teacher. I observed was very helpful for them, the directions idea.
Yeah.
That movies direction or this kind of relationship with their own skeleton.
Yes, absolutely.
That helps a lot.
Yeah. So if you had to think of a name for this lesson, well, the name for this lesson for you would be about relationships in a way. Maybe? That's for me, the title for this lesson for me, it's all about relationships.
Relationship with oneself.
With oneself.
Or with...
Yeah.
No, I don't know. And
space. Yeah. Because, I agree with you. It's about keeping the head low. It's about the relationship of the nose to the knee and the foot to the ground, and and actually the dynamic nature of the relationship. Because you'll notice if there's that point, one of the classic rolling to sitting ones, if you want one pointer that's true for almost all of them, is if the movement stops in a body part, you'll stop and you'll get a sense of being stuck and frozen. As you said, I can't do it. A sense of I can't do it. I can't imagine that I can't do it. Whereas if you keep something in you moving, and actually everything starts moving, that's actually the hallmark. When you're watching people do it, all of them is moving through space all the time. So I'll say two things: that and the head stays low. I think you all found that, the head staying low. Yeah.
Based on the feedback from the group, is that there needs to be, you need to be responsive, but there also needs to be an economy of intent, so you don't discombobulate the people in front.
Can you give me an example? Did you discombobulate your pose?
Oh, definitely.
In what way?
And because taking what I saw, and then instead of just keeping the intent in a particular place or movement and direction, is then seeing another relationship and then adding that in, and seeing another relationship and adding that in. And so then it becomes really confusing, because as Emma says, that language is linear, but movement is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you're giving the instructions, there needs to be an economy of intent, so that you don't confuse and dangle the nervous system.
Yeah, there's too many things for them to pay attention to, and it becomes verbiage. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was one of the students.
You were discombobulated.
Not that I was discombobulated, but we were talking, about how language is linear, and it felt like we had two teachers who wanted us to experience. Excellent. They were very good. Jekyll and Hyde. And our teachers wanted us to experience the full, the richness of the lesson, and that was beginning to interfere with the timing, because we didn't have, because then it felt like I was having to put the brakes on so that I could pay attention to all these things.
Right.
Around.
Yeah. It's a great lesson to learn, because I really identify with it, because I don't know it. And it gets in the way. So now you're getting an appreciation, maybe you had it before, but why? So when we heard your 3 languages this morning, if I had to choose one of those to receive an ATM by, I would choose English, because of the clarity and the thought that you put into it. Each word landed because you'd put thought into it. I mean, listening to the Spanish and the Italian was lovely and poetic, and you were more animated and all the rest of it. But for an ATM, where it's actually my process, I would want that clarity and that riskness. Yeah.
It was generous.
we had a similar but different thing come up in our group. We had a wonderful teacher as well in Helen. And although I see it's a benefit of teaching. But after in our discussion, we were talking about whether an instruction should have been given up or not. About it was moving the knee, wasn't it? Whether to have a movement in the knee. And I said, well, actually, when I did it with Susan the first time, you didn't give that instruction, but I actually discovered it on my own when I lay down on my back. And I went, oh, look at my knee. And I think, but anyway, we were saying, well, for me at least, that was such a, Julieta, she's left. Yeah, that's right. But we're saying that was just so meaningful to have found that on my own. So it's tricky too, it's the same thing of the generosity and wanting everyone to have that experience. And not everyone will find their knee. And so, and then you look at the class and think, oh, 50% of God, you know, it's just, I bet you just have to pitch it differently each time.
If I could just elaborate a bit on your point, one question I had particularly as a teacher was how directive to be. So, you know, it was around the position of the nose, and as you said, keeping it closer to the floor and turning it away from the direction of the movement is how explicit to be about that, or to keep it very general and something like think about, you know, where is your nose? Does it make a difference if you turn it one way or the other, or have it higher or lower, rather than giving the big clue? And what, I guess, in the spirit of things, it would be better to be less directive than more.
Turning it into a question is good. Now, what I thought we would do just in terms of this relationship thing is getting into pairs. Can I borrow you for a minute? Can you lie here? Is to explore a relationship. It's not quite the same, but it's similar. Is to bring your knee up. The person can bring their knee up. I can't do this nicely because I've got my...
Now let's set this up a little bit more nicely. What's appropriate to this body? Is it okay with you that I do this? I just assume. Find a way on the floor that you can position yourself, and that you can start off with obviously, you know, introduce each other, blah, blah, blah. Find a way of picking up the person's knee. Now, there's a nice way of doing it. You've got this nice kind of U shape in your hand. And if you put it there, and you'll find this nice little bump designed that your U shape fits under on someone's knee, some of the inbuilt belly holds that are there. And if you find a way that you can just lean into that person's knees with your body weight, and then you push your hand in, and then you just direct your arm upward and pick up their knee quite lightly. And they get the sense that their leg is really light. And if someone has a self-image that their leg is really heavy, that feels nice in itself. So just try that a few times. And paying attention to the whole leg and them, and just leaning into their leg and using the lean to pick up. Then after you get here, help them to introduce their hand here so they can find that nice spot on their knee, right? If that's comfortable. And then play this little game of you showing them, they take their knee a little bit away from them and show them how their skeleton is now connected in this. So, as you encourage their knee to come back and you're supporting their hand, you feel and they feel where the slack picks up in the elbow, and then it comes away a bit more, and then it starts lengthening in the shoulder and the shoulder girdle and the ribs and the neck, and they start feeling that relationship of the connection of as their leg goes away from them. If I really exaggerated it, don't get alarmed, but if I really exaggerated it, it's that, right? Sorry to do that to you. Okay, but so don't do that with each other, but if you have that, that's the ultimate connection of coming up to sitting. You're just going to explore feeling in the hip joint starting to open because of the connection of the hand to the knee, connection to the shoulder, through the elbow into the shoulder, all the way up, and then they start, and their sternum comes forward a bit, and the back to the top of the head. Does that look a bit? You that head hanging back kind of feeling? That's all. And then let the person come down, let their leg come down, and let them sense that small exploration. What you're doing is well, I won't tell you what you're doing. A little bit. I can't help myself. There is a relationship thing here, which is what you talked about, which is really establishing a relationship through the arm and the leg with the trunk as the third part of the triangle. We use this a lot. And then ultimately, once you've got that organisation, you'll be able to you could do that rolling up to sitting without holding onto your foot, because you have the organisation in your trunk. We'll go off and do that right now. We do that sometimes in ATMs, is that you'll have that physical attachment, and then once that's helped you organise your trunk, you can do it. Now, to my mind, that organisation that you have in your trunk to help you come up, that's what, when people say they want this core stability stuff, you have all discovered that in a dynamic sense by rolling up to sitting like that. To me, that is actually what our trunks need. That is the trunk control that we need, because it's dynamic, it moves through space, it's powerful, and it's relatively effortless because it's distributed through the trunk. If you actually ever want to push me about, well, what when you disparage core stability, Susan, what's your answer to that? That's my answer to that. What you just learned for yourselves. That's another story. Find a partner, and this simple little exploration, spend a few minutes feeling the weightlessness of the leg, making the connection, and then exploring the push me, pull you aspect of that.